60 seconds. So this is the second training method. The third training method is what we call eccentric, FOG, F-O-G, fast twitch oxidative glycolytic. The first warm-ups you do with a normal cadence, so the type of cadence or speed of execution of reps that you did on the other two. And then you do your primer, 1 or 2 slow negatives. So as you notice there, time under tension 60 seconds, time for 1 rep is 10 seconds. So not 4 or 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That's 7 seconds for a negative, so 7 seconds to slow down, pause, and then 3 seconds to drive out. So this is what we call a slow eccentric or a slow negative type of training. As you notice there, you only do 6 maximum reps on your working set. So you should put a weight on that you can't possibly do a 7th rep with. And it's 6 seconds really slow, 10 seconds per repetition, and that equates to 60 seconds. You're training the same type of muscle fibre, which is the FOG fibres. That's fast twitch oxidative glycolytic. These still grow. Now what I would suggest is that you mainly utilise system 1 and then you intersperse it with system 2 and 3 every now and then, and that can be variable according to, some people get sore after a few weeks of training just FG, and I tend to say, well, if that's the case, do 1 week on FG and the next week do system 2 or system 3 and try and vary it like that. And it helps to prevent injury, helps the tendons to heal as well, so you're not doing the system 1 or FG training all the time where it's really heavy. You give the tendons a chance to recover. Now moving on to the next diagram. This is explaining how you'd split the body up. Now, as I said, I know we tend to work on a 7-day timetable. We work for 5 days, rest for 2 days. But with the training, you don't need to stick to that. So although I've put on this schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you don't necessarily have to. You could put workout 1, workout 2, workout 3, and workout 4. So basically, split the body up into Monday chest and triceps, Tuesday back and abdominals, Thursday legs, and Friday shoulders and biceps. But you could actually split that up into workout 1 on a Monday, chest and triceps, rest Tuesday, workout 2, back and abdominals on a Wednesday. You could split it and elongate it that way, but just for the sake of our normal timetable, I've split it to a week. The reason I put chest and triceps together is that's all your pushing muscles. Your back is a pulling muscle. Abdominals just to really make up the muscle volume. Wednesday off completely, no resistance training on the Wednesday. All your legs together on a Thursday. But what I used to do when I was training with Dorian Yates on legs, we'd usually have a 15 to 20 minute break after we'd done quads before we did our hamstrings. And that seems to work well. Other than that, you could do your hamstrings on a separate day, but usually, because you partially work your hamstrings when you do your squatting and leg press, it's good to really isolate them and work them to maximum in the same session. So resting and stretching the quads after you've done your quads and then onto hamstrings. But working all your legs on one day. And then shoulders and biceps. Biceps you partially work when you do your back, but not completely. So if you keep Friday away from your back day, your biceps will benefit there. So shoulders and biceps together. Optional fat burning at low intensities for 35 to 45 minutes after a workout. So what, maybe a brisk walk or an incline walk or a cycle where you're not getting too out of breath, you're burning mainly the fatty acids as we described in energy systems for 30 to 45 minutes, but no intense aerobics after your weight training workouts. And the reason for that is because it tends to switch off growth factors. It tends to put the body in too much of a catabolic state, and also you've burned a lot of glycogen and energy off when you've been doing the weights. And if you drain your system completely by doing intense aerobics after that, you're putting your system in a serious negative energy deficit, and it's hard to claw it back, and it's not conducive for muscle building. So if you try and keep your intense aerobics And that will be short interval training, things like Tabata, which I speak about in the book. No more than 2 to 3 times a week, but on separate days than you would do the weights. As bodybuilders, we're mainly involved with training the type 2 fibres. Now these are the white fibres or the fast twitch fibres, FT. Now basically these are split up into fast twitch glycolytic, FG fibres, and fast twitch oxidative glycolytic or FOG fibres, FOG fibres. And you'll see that when we go onto the training protocol, we call them FG and FOG. Now these two together, these two groups, the FG and the FOG, are made up of your white fibres. And as you can see there, they have the highest hypertrophic capability, that means the highest capacity for growth and increasing strength. They have the lowest aerobic capacity, and they don't have good endurance, but they have the highest strength of contraction. They are most fatigable, so they fatigue quickly, but these are the ones that we need to aim for when we're thinking about bodybuilding. So the next sheet talks about what prevents a muscle responding. So we've gone through all the training in the gym now, but obviously even if you are trying to prevent overtraining, or you have a good timetable and a good split schedule with your training pattern, even then, because of the amount of stress you put in the body under, you can develop what we call fascial tension and damage to the fascia. I'll speak about this more extensively in the book, but when you damage that fascial covering around the muscle, it's very sensitive and it can cause reflex action to occur, which can shut down the circulation to the muscle. It can cause adhesions of the muscle and shrinkage. And if this isn't addressed, then it can lead on to further damage further down the line. So it's good to address these issues, and we'll show you how we do that with certain therapy techniques in the physiotherapy that we do for bodybuilders. And the second heading there is the autonomic nervous system. I go into more detail again in the book about this, but this is basically the automatic part of your nervous system, and we're talking about the part which supplies circulation to the muscles. This is controlled with a series of nerve cells which run inside your rib cage in your back, just outside the spinal cord. Now, these cells can also become fatigued when your muscles and your fascia become fatigued and damaged. They can be shut down and affected, and they don't offer as much circulation then to the muscle. So we need to look at ways of switching these cells back on. We talk about that in the therapy, how to switch these cells back on and improve the blood flow to the muscle, which is imperative if you want to be successful with the bodybuilding. We also look at postural tension and changes, how we can battle against that with various techniques and exercises, and then inadequate nutrition as well, which I speak about more in the book. But obviously if you haven't got the right nutrition to put your body back into an anabolic state, it will stay in a catabolic state and start to cannibalise itself. So the nutrition is so important as well. We think about anxiety and stress. These produce a hormone called cortisol, which then can cause the body to cannibalise itself, cannibalise its own muscle tissue. So if you're in a stress, anxious state, this cortisol hormone can really damage the anabolic responses which you want to really allow the body to go into to produce the muscle and to improve the muscle gains. Poor sleep pattern again, growth hormone responses, inadequate rest of the muscle can obviously then cause more anxiety, raise cortisol levels. It's like a vicious cycle you can get yourself into. So adequate rest is important to get yourself into a good sleep pattern. Also mentions there are some common conditions affecting bodybuilders. I go into more detail in the book, but the facet joint syndrome and thoracic outlet syndrome again can affect your posture, can affect the circulation to the muscles. T4 syndrome is another specific one which causes a shutdown in circulation to the hands, the arms and the shoulder muscles. Scapular dysfunction, very often bodybuilders have poor posture, and that can eventually lead to a dysfunction of the shoulder blade, which can affect muscle tension, circulation, so that needs to be addressed. rotator cuff damage through overuse or bad position and bad posture. And then also a common one is patella and anterior knee pain. So pain on the front of the knee through overuse in the tendons is a common condition we get with bodybuilders. And I'll show you some therapy techniques for how to deal and prevent with these conditions occurring. So prior to us going into the gym to work on the resistance program, it's good to go through a stretching protocol to make sure all the tissues are pliable. So I'm going to teach you some exercises now. We'll go through the whole body. We'll teach you some stretch exercises. I also think it's good to warm the core temperature up, especially if it's a cold day, if you're training in winter. So it's good to do 5 minutes at a steady cadence on the bike, just on an easy setting, and then you can start this stretching program. So we're going to go through that now. So this stretch is for the lower back. We basically want to loosen these joints right at the base of the spine and to ease any muscle tension that might be there. So start off with the arms out to the side, straighten your left leg down, and then lift your right leg up to the ceiling, and then we drop that leg right over the side. That's it, and straighten that leg out, Charlotte. That's good. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, push that hip right over. So you can do this on your own. And as you push over and you breathe out, hold for a few seconds, take a breath in, breathe out again, and you repeat that for about 30 seconds. So you've loosened the spine off here and that hip's gone right over. And then you repeat for the other side, so if you want to repeat for the other side. Straighten this leg right out and then push that hip forward. That's good. Now a really good one for the glutes and the muscles around the hip that get tight. If you go onto all fours. From that position, if we're going to stretch the right glute, bring that right knee towards this wrist, slide this foot slightly in front of the left knee, and slide the left leg right back as far as you can. And you can fine tune your knee position to get a pull on the bottom muscle on the right hand side. So this will stretch this right hand side. And then if you lean down as far as you can to get even more stretch, and as you do that, breathe out. So when she breathes out, you'll feel a pull through these gluteal muscles. And again, repeat that for another 2 or 3 breaths, probably about 30 seconds. And then if you change sides, repeat it for the other leg. So it's left knee across to the right, right foot in front of the, left foot in front of the right thigh, and then lean down as you breathe out. And she'll feel a pull through these muscles here. This is where we're aiming at. And hold for about 30 seconds, breathing out during that 30 seconds to allow it to pay out. That's great. Okay. We're going to stretch the hip flexors, and you can do this. You could either do this on its own, or you could do it using a power plate. And the vibration helps to vibrate through the muscle and allows it to just pay out a little bit more. So this is another stretch. This is for the front of the hip flexors that very often get tight, especially if you've been sat down over long periods. So if you pop that foot a bit further forward, John, then lunge forwards as far as you can. And we're going to set the vibration going. Turn the vibration off so you can hear me, but that's the gist of it. So the vibration will be going as he lunges into the exercise, breathing out, and then also extending the spine at the same time so we get maximum pull through that line. And then we just imagine the vibration still going, turn round, and we do the same thing on the other side. So lunge forwards, this leg slide back as far as you can, that's it. As you can see, it's pretty tight on his hip flexors, so this is a good one for John to do. And imagine the vibration plates going through. Set for about 30 seconds. Okay, so we go through the similar exercise for the hamstrings on the power plate. Again, you can do this in freestanding. With this one, you just feet together like that, breathing out, stretching forwards. I'm just unfolding the back downwards with the knees straight.